Hi guys, today we are going to be talking about the tech ecosystem in Singapore, and I am your favorite tech girl and the coolest girl in this city. Okay, maybe not the coolest, but cool enough. Anyway, today we are at the Marina Bay Sands, and this is the most iconic building in the Singapore area. And guys, your girl has done the work. I've spoken to professors, folks working in the recruiting industry, and people who are studying here, and tried to understand from them what's the tech ecosystem here looking like. And your girl has got the tea. So without further ado, we'll get to this video, but maybe we'll move inside for the rest of the video, because guys, it's sunny and people are staring. Oh my god, Singapore is so hot. Anyway, coming back to this video. So hi guys, my name is Arushi, and in this channel we talk about all things product, tech and general career adulting. If that's what you're interested in, well then go ahead, click on the subscribe button and make sure you click on the bell icon as well, so that you're notified every time I come up with a new video. So coming back to the topic at hand. If you're someone who's working in the world of tech and you're eyeing Singapore as a probable location that you could call home, well then this video will answer all your questions. So in spirit of full disclosure, these are the 4 questions that we'll cover in this video. Number 1, what is the tech job scene here like? What are the kind of jobs available and things like that? Number 2, what is the visa situation here like? How can you apply for visa and so on? Number 3, how can you apply to jobs and what are the average salaries available here? Yes, we'll cover that. And 4, what is the general life in Singapore like, and if you want to shift here, what's my take at it? I think that covers the basics of it. So without further ado, let's go ahead. By the way, like I said, your girl spoke to people who are working in the industry or who are students here. So I've put in snippets in this video about what they told me, so that you can hear from the horse's mouth. But I'll also have myself concluding or summarizing what I understood from them, so that it's easier for you to consume. So this video is a little bit different than all my other videos in that regard, but I hope it gives you the flavor that you need. So starting with question number 1, what kind of tech jobs are available here?
Availability of the tech jobs, they are all typical skill sets which are in demand in India. Similarly here, the tech stacks are the same: data analytics, fraud, risk management. Typically BFSI, Singapore being a financial hub, the BFSI sector is very strong. And some of the largest and the biggest names, you talk about JP Morgan to CSFB, American Express, Citibank, they all have their sizable operations.
You get both, startups that are trying to crack emerging markets in Southeast Asia, and you get developed tech companies like Apple, Microsoft, etc., who have their Asia operations running from here.
Well, I think the question should have been, what kind of tech jobs are not available here? Because guys, seriously, maybe blockchain, Web3, crypto, you call it and you'll have that organization or some great organization in that domain headquartered or set out of Singapore for sure. For example, look at Binance, which is the largest crypto exchange in the world, set up in Singapore. You've got firms like Grab and Lazada, set up in Singapore. Even FANG companies would have their Asia headquarters set up in Singapore. So no matter what niche domain or what wide domain also you're a part of or you want to be a part of, you will for sure find big names and even smaller startups set up in Singapore in that domain. Singapore does has a speciality in banking, technology, but I think all the other niches also are not lagging behind. One thing though, Singapore is definitely not as sexy as Silicon Valley is, but to be honest, it's really not that far behind as well. So now coming to the most crucial question, what is the visa situation here like? So while in the past getting a PR or a permanent residentship in Singapore was not hard, in the last couple of years it's really changed a lot. And I spoke to someone who's been running a recruiting agency in Singapore for the last 22 years, and here's what they had to say.
So first and foremost, I think Singapore is not the country or a place to look for tech freshers, who are keen to start their career in Singapore. Because of the visa regime, they will not get opportunities, even if you are from IIT. So that's one challenge, that everyone will face. If you have a couple of years of experience coming from a decent engineering college in India or masters like MCA, you have a fair chance. If you talk about in your context, say IT, the tech jobs, they know that they'll have to hire foreigner because the availability of local talent is not there. And even if it is there, it is very less compared to the demand which is there. So there they'll have to look for a foreign talent. And that's when the visa regime comes into picture, that at what category you will apply. So employment pass holders, the salary range starts with 4,500 as of now. But Singapore has already changed that regime, and they're from 1st of September 2023, coming this year, 1st September, they will be encompassing a new system in which this 4,500 has been increased to 5,000.
In a nutshell, the government here has a very protective stance about getting in outsiders. You have to understand why is that. So the country actually has a very talented and hard-working pool of citizens who are actually talented in most fields. So why hire from outside? That's why the government pushes all the local companies to hire from local citizens first and then go to immigrants. So for an organization to hire an outsider, they really have to go the distance. They have to prove to the government that they have tried hiring from the internal set or the local set of resources available. And then also the government has actually put a bar on the kind of jobs that you can hire from outside for. So how they've done that? They've actually said any job that pays more than 5,000 Singapore dollars per month is only eligible for an employment pass or to hire people from outside. All other jobs have to be fulfilled from the internal set of resources. So because of this, it becomes very hard for an organization to pull in candidates from outside. Alright, so when I was researching my video and I came to this realization, to be honest, I was quite sad and I felt, why even make this video? Maybe just put a liner somewhere saying, forget Singapore. But then, something really cool happened. I met a friend of mine who has moved to Singapore quite recently, and I asked her what worked for her. And what she made me realize is that if you're someone who's talented in a very niche technology, well, then you may have a go. So let's further understand how you can still make it to Singapore even if the government doesn't want it so much. So well, what she told me was that if you are working in a special niche technology and the organizations here are able to prove that they are not able to hire someone in that niche, and of course people are not available in that niche, then they can hire you. Which means people who are experienced in a specific segment do have a chance here, and a good one at that. Since I said the base salary is 5,000 SGD and more, that is a lot of money, honey. So now that we've understood that there are a few jobs or a few ways through which you can approach moving to Singapore, in the next section we'll understand how to approach it. But before we go there, guys, if you have come this far to this video, I'm sure you're liking it and you love the research that I've done. So go ahead, like the video, and this helps YouTube understand that this video is actually useful and will probably help spread this further. So it helps you, it helps people like you, and it also helps me a little bit. So now coming to the approach, like I said before, most recruiters do not want to hire from outside. But most recruiters want to hire big time. So much so that there's a culture of poaching in Singapore. Like if you're already in Facebook, maybe a competitor, maybe someone who's working in a similar domain might want to offer you a little bit extra to move to their organization. So that means that there's always an HR who's always looking to fill a position. So if you're able to network your way through it, well, then you've struck gold. But how do we network well? Well, I've done a video before on this and I've linked to it over here. But the bottom line really is that you have to be friendly and memorable, because honestly, nobody likes to help someone they don't like. The other route is to join some of these organizations but in their Indonesia office. So for example, you could join Grab but in their Indonesia office. This way you'll be able to be a part of the organization that has headquarters in Singapore, and then eventually network with the same HR and move your way to Singapore. And finally, there are a few other local websites instead of just LinkedIn and Monster.com where you could search for job openings. That might help you as well. So now coming to the most fun part of this video, the average salaries here. So I did some research and the average salaries for product manager are upwards of 120,000 Singapore dollars a year. For an SD2, they could be around 200,000 Singapore dollars, and for a marketing manager around $100,000. So I can safely say that salaries here are a bomb. Woohoo! So now coming to the final part, what's my take about Singapore? So what I absolutely loved about Singapore was that it's so well organized. The public transport is wow. In fact, it's so good that it's, I think, one of the best in the world. And I actually spoke to a few people who are living there and this is what they had to say.
Singapore in particular, I just absolutely love. I think the lifestyle is good, the money is good, the people are great. You've got your own people, own food here. It's close to home from India for me. So yeah, overall, I think this is a phenomenal city. I could definitely consider this home.
Singapore is a great country, one of the safest in terms of employability. If you have the right skills, you will certainly find an opportunity. But whether or not you should come, I think it's an individual's call. What stage in your career you are at, and what you are looking at from a role.
So in a nutshell, the city is quite amazing, quite well organized, and obviously I've said this before, the most innovative work is definitely happening here. However, I did find a few cons. The lack of space did stand out for me. So eventually the city is so small that you end up seeing the Marina Bay Sands from everywhere. Anyway, the lack of space is very evident. The kind of condos available or apartments available there are very expensive and too small. Well, that's true for any big city, but me coming from Dubai, I felt that more strongly because here it's really not that bad. The other thing was that, of course, driving a car is a luxury in Singapore, so you would definitely not buy a car there. But the public transport obviously more than makes up for it. So in a nutshell, if you are someone who wants to work in the most organized city and wants to work on the most innovative pieces of technology and in one of the most competitive ecosystems, well, then Singapore is for you. But if you're someone who see themselves living in a big house with a backyard and driving a nice car, well, then that's not going to happen for you in Singapore. At least not likely. So, but overall, I do rate the city a solid 8 on 10. So that's it on the tech ecosystem in Singapore. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please comment on the section below and tell me what you did like and where all I can improve. Please also suggest on what topics do you want me to make videos on. And please like the video if you like the content, and I'll see you next time. Ta-da!